Is Islam Makhachev truly the undisputed pound-for-pound best in MMA? Nate Diaz is shaking his head and calling foul, sparking a fiery debate that's got fans divided and laughing alike. Let's dive into this. For those new to the sport, pound-for-pound or P4P ranking is like imagining fighters without weight class barriers. It's about who would win if everyone was the same size, based on skill, dominance, and overall impact. It's a hotly debated topic because it boils down to opinions on achievements, opponents, and legacy. Islam Makhachev, the protege of the legendary Khabib Nurmagomedov. Check out more on Khabib at https://bloodyelbow.com/tag/Khabib-Nurmagomedov, has been tearing through the UFC since his debut back in 2015. In that time, he's racked up an impressive 17 wins against just one loss, showcasing why he's such a force. At the lightweight division, he claimed the championship belt and has defended it a record-breaking 4 times, more defenses than any other lightweight champ in UFC history over the past decade. That's no small feat. It means he's consistently beaten top contenders and solidified his reign in one of MMA's most stacked divisions. But last weekend, the 34-year-old Russian sensation took things to another level. He stepped up to welterweight and dominated Jack Della Maddalena at UFC 322, turning the fight into a one-sided showcase. For the full story, see https://bloodyelbow.com//Jack Della Maddalena via Islam Makhachev UFC result lightweight legend becomes double champ in NYC/. Just like that, Makhachev became a 2-division champion, mauling his opponent with the same relentless pressure that's made him a nightmare for lightweights. And in the latest buzz, Makhachev was there to lift up a heartbroken teammate after a controversial loss in their UFC Qatar debut. Details at https://bloodyelbow.com// Islam Makhachev picks distraught teammate off the floor after UFC Qatar debut ends in debated defeat / So why isn't Nate Diaz buying into the hype around Makhachev as the P4P #1? Well, last Tuesday, Makhachev was officially bumped back to the top spot in the pound-for-pound rankings. Most fans are on board, believing his resume edges out even Ilia Topuria. More on Topuria here. https://bloodyelbow.com/tag/Ilia-Topuria, the featherweight phenom who's been lighting up the charts. But Diaz? He's got a different take, and he's not mincing words. When asked who he thinks is the current P4P king, Diaz didn't hesitate. John Jones, hands down. He went on to explain his frustration, saying folks are jumping the gun with these rankings. People mix things up and just toss out wild claims like that. Makhachev's only been in the spotlight for a short while, and he hasn't taken down anyone truly legendary yet. Diaz even brought up BJ Penn, the iconic lightweight who many consider the greatest ever in that division for his back-to-back UFC titles in the early 2000s and his pioneering style that blended striking and grappling like no one before. The top lightweight of all time was BJ Penn, Diaz argued. So comparing that legacy to what Makhachev has accomplished so far, it doesn't add up. I'm not saying he can't get there or won't dominate eventually, but slapping the GOAT label on him right as he bursts onto the big stage, that's rushing it. He addressed the backlash too, noting, "They accuse me of hating, but it's because of our past clashes. There's stuff I've witnessed that sticks with me as true greatness. Real GOAT moments. I haven't seen anything close from these guys. Their recent fights just left me yawning." Diaz wrapped it up by saying the top P4P spot shouldn't even be in the conversation for Makhachev or Topuria yet, adding that if he had to pick between the two, Topuria feels like the more well-rounded competitor overall. But here's where it gets controversial. Diaz's bold dismissal has fans fired up, and not in his favor. A video clip of his rant about Makhachev has exploded across social media, drawing waves of mockery. People are pointing out that Makhachev's decade-long UFC tenure, full of wins over elite fighters, far surpasses what BJ Penn achieved in terms of title defenses and consistency. One commenter quipped, "I swear Nate's calendar is stuck in 2017. Another jabbed, punch drunk much?" referencing Diaz's brawling style that often invites heavy shots. The roasts kept coming. The master of defeats has weighed in, laughed one. Diaz math. 10 years equals 2 minutes. Genius, snarked another on X. Some got more pointed, with remarks like Nate's CTE should be a case study, or this is the downside of his strategy. Absorb every head strike to wear opponents down. Ouch. And this is the part most people miss. While fans pile on, it raises a real question about how we measure greatness. Is longevity and dominance enough, or do you need that intangible wow factor like Penn's early flair? Nate Diaz's take on Makhachev not being P4P #1 is turning heads grimacing face. He's only been around a couple minutes. Hasn't beaten anyone mind-blowing. Just handing him GOAT status now. Nah, I barely recall their fights without feeling sleepy. pic.twitter.com/MadameYFB356D https://t.co/MadameYFB356D Championship rounds at ChamparDS, November 24, 2025. https://twitter.com/ChamparDS/1992817595720892451 View tweet. So what do you think, fight fans? Is Nate Diaz onto something with his John Jones pick? Or are the critics right that his views are clouded by time and tough miles in the cage? Could Makhachev's rapid rise actually be undervalued because he's so methodical rather than flashy? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Agree with Diaz's old school stance? Or side with the new guard? Let's discuss.